All right, we will continue our discussion about things that are happening in the postmodern world, and one very important thing is the New Age movements. The New Age movements refers to the resurgence in religiosity, but it has two defining characteristics. The first thing is we want new ways of doing religion. Okay, religion is a has been practiced in various ways. So please keep in mind that when Jerome is the person who wrote the Bible. When he wrote the Bible for the first time, he wrote a translation. It was, I believe, in Latin. So he did not write the exact text of the Bible. Okay, the Bible, the text of the Bible was not agreed until the Vulgate Bible was written, and that also in the Catholics. But he concentrated more on the subject of the Bible. Okay, what was there? The subject, the substance, not in fact the subject, but the substance. So if that could be done, then in the modern times, according to the requirements of modern times, religion could be done in new ways. What would be the benefit? We will be able to find solutions to the new problems. And what are these new ways? There can be any new way of doing an old thing. You can revert to astrology, which, by the way, is not new. These new things are called the New Age movements. Okay, you can communicate with the spirits. Nothing new there. What about the inner child? Talk to him. Okay, and unconventional techniques can constitute the NAMs. So the modern NAMs fall into four categories: transformational training, intellectualism, lifestyle, and the occult. Okay, so when you're talking about transformational training, how do I change my life? What techniques are available? Intellectualism, what alternative beliefs are available? You'll find a lot of Americans going to India or Burma, Myanmar, to learn the Buddhist method of meditation. Fine, it's an alternative belief. Uh, bring changes in society through changes. Okay. What about your lifestyle? What about your globalist lifestyle? Can you make it more simple? And then there are occult. Uh, Occult would mean here not just palmistry, but even resorting to witchcraft, which again is not new. And by the way, these are all those things that conventional religions attempted to put a stop to. Most importantly, the uh, monotheistic religions. That brings us to the concept. We're still in the postmodern way of thinking, and that brings us to what is called spiritual consumption. So, religion is more a vehicle of spiritual consumption. The salvation, but please do keep in mind the concept of salvation comes purely from Christianity. Christians have always been very concerned about salvation, and that is what these postmodernists talk about as well. But this salvation can be achieved through preoccupation, which brings peace of mind, which is a major problem of humanity today, and creating a positive self image, creating physical health, empowerment, enlightenment. Where are those things? Enlightenment. We have a lot of things, but we also have a lot of stupidity. As knowledge is moving forward, stupidity is also moving forward. So that 17th century or the 18th century enlightenment is not there anymore. So this is called religious consumerism, and it sounds very much like the consumerism that we have already studied in the media. Remove the language, the jargon of the church, and just concentrate on the spirit. God, yes, dogma, no. Okay, this is Nam. These are the New Age movements. You shop, take what suits you. It's called spiritual shopping. The feel good factor, but no commitment. Okay, critics have often called it the selfish religion, right? So, yoga is one aspect of this. But what about Jesus? Did he achieve salvation, or did he die so that other people could achieve salvation simply by by engaging in meditation? Big question mark over there. Okay, so yes, these things are there. And um, and of course, these things need to be kept in mind. These are some of the criticisms of the postmodern approach to religion. So the problem with NAMS is that, apart from bringing about, and you can write this in the evaluation, that apart from bringing about those abstract transformations, what do they have in common? Okay, meditation. What does it have in common with witchcraft? Okay, what they have in common is that uh, they give a certain experience. Okay, and that experience is satisfying to the individual in some way. Okay, they can be soul shaking experiences. They are real experiences, and they are inspirational experiences. Okay, and these experiences then create validation. Okay, in various cultures you have various kinds of these experiences. We now move to another important thing, NAMs, which let's say they are, in some sense, either related to NAMs or they are a reaction to NAM, and that is fundamentalism. Okay, fundamentalism is, whereas NAMs accept the substance without the dogma, the fundamentalists talk about certainty. They are very, very certain about what they believe in. NAMs are privatized form of religious beliefs. Fundamentalists are not that. They like to practice religion very much in the open spheres. Okay, so unless and until the belief system is very strong, observance is useless. Okay, uh, strict observance of your fundamental beliefs, that is the main driving force behind the fundamentalist effort, behind the fundamentalist movement. Okay, and what is their strength? What is their strength? Their strength is certainty. They give certainty in a world rife and replete with moral uncertainties, which are born of modernity and the postmodern world. So, uh, if you analyze it, if you analyze it, in a sense, fundamentalism has a lot of appeal. Okay, it may not have a lot of appeal for a lot of people, but it has a lot of appeal for a lot of people. And the appeal of fundamentalism is very straightforward. People don't want gray areas. People want moral guidelines. Okay. People are like trains full of energy and fuel. They simply want tracks which can send them where they are supposed to go. And the fundamentalists lay those tracks down in the form of moral guidelines. And where do those moral guidelines come from? The main source is the religious text. So, that means fundamentalism cannot permit any other form of truth to encroach on its way of thinking. Okay? So, anything which is an alternative to religious fundamentalism, whether it's secularism or the fundamentalism expressed by another religion, will not be liked by a fundamentalist movement. So, Christian fundamentalists will consider Islam as its enemies. Islam will consider Christians as their enemies. Okay, so here the idea is to control both the individual and the society, control the ideology, or what you think, how you behave, and how you should behave. All these things will be dictated by the fundamentalists. Okay, so yeah, that is the thing that we must keep in mind. Of course, please don't forget that there is an old atheistic movement as well, uh, which basically the fundamentalist movement started in reaction to this atheistic movement. And, okay, so they believe that the religious movements or the modern politics uses religion to consolidate its power. This is actually, the atheists are the critics of fundamentalism and modern religious movements, and they say that they use their the political governments, the political parties, or the political cadres are using religion to consolidate their power. And they give the example of the Boston Tea Party. The Boston Tea Party, of course, is um, uh, I'm sorry, I did not mean the Boston Tea Party. That's the old thing. The Conservative Tea Party. So the Conservative Tea Party was a movement that started in 2010 with the express purpose of putting a religious order, a religious uh, government, if you would, in the United States. So, when we're talking about post-modernity, again, we will introduce another concept, and that is the concept of globalization. People are exposed to different cultures, and then they are exposed to moral relativism, which means that nothing is intrinsically good or bad. So, in various religions, there can be various things that may be good or not very good. So, when there are no moral certainties, these people see the world as threatening. Okay, people who are more certain in their way of thinking, to them an alternative religion is not really a threat. But for those who are not very well grounded in their beliefs, uh, that their alternative things that they experience are a threat. I can give you an example here of a woman who went for an abortion very late in her pregnancy, and she saw real time. She saw the ultrasound before she would undergo the procedure, and when what she saw appalled her. This was not a lifeless clump. It was a living being that was being killed, and that is what converted her into a fundamentalist Christian. So the uncertainty whether she should undergo the abortion or not gave her the certainty that she should not. And these certainties are then given by God. Okay, so this is, I don't know whether you know him or not. This is an American wrestler. Okay, who had very little to do with religion at one time, but then later on he became a fundamentalist Christian when he married this woman. Who was a model and an athlete herself. Initially, he had no certainty, or even if he did, it was not a very firm kind of certainty. And later on, of course, he became a very certain Christian. Okay, so this is something that you can read about further, and in the next video, then I'm going to go to the next topic. Thank you very much indeed.